Hello, my name's Danielle Morgan. I'm the founder and lead coach of The Doppler Effect, and I'm also the author of a sci fi novel called Potato. I'm here to speak to you today about the topic of women in the modern economy, and the reason why I'm qualified to do so is, first of all, I am a woman, and secondly, I've spent a career in the tech startup world in London, helping tech startups scale for growth until I exited that environment about 5 years ago in order to start Doppler Effect. What I would love to talk to you about today is about how the current system of business personally doesn't work for me and doesn't work for many thousands of women that I talk to, and how we can change that system and what that new system might look like. So we're going to be talking about things like going beyond profit, collaboration, moving away from competition, and looking at a way that we create a world where we can all thrive and where everybody gets the opportunity to play a role within that world. So I want to say thank you very much to Ananki for inviting me to speak today. It's such an honour and a privilege to be here. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to start with talking about why the current model of business, or the modern world of business, really didn't work for me. So 5 years ago, I was working at a tech startup, which was the highest funded tech startup in Europe at the time. And I had a very good job, worked with very good people, and very good salary. But I woke up one day and I realized that my soul was dying. And when I really looked into that and why that was, I realized that it was because what I was doing for me felt very meaningless. Personally, I've never been driven by the desire to accumulate as much resources as humanly possible. That's never been something that has motivated me. I'm not particularly motivated by money, although I certainly don't advocate poverty. So when I was working crazy hour days in order to predominantly justify my own existence in a role that was supposed to have a lot of responsibility, but actually was very limited in terms of what was actually allowed to be done, it didn't feel very good to me. So I wanted to do something where I wanted for the first time to be able to do something that was just for me and was driven by my own sense of values and purpose. And so I very much felt like, and this is no blame towards any of the companies that I was working at, and no individuals. It was just that when I looked at the business world, I felt like it wasn't designed by me. It wasn't really for me. And if I won in that system, it meant that I'd become something I didn't want to be. So what choice did I have at this point? These were my questions. I was actually being coached at the time to increase my seniority. And it felt very inauthentic to me to keep trying to move my way up a ladder. In fact, I was completely baffled as to why there was a ladder and what was at the top. So starting the Doppler Effect, actually, it started by me writing a sci-fi novel. I think for the sake of something to do that would excite me and would be totally different from anything I'd done before. As a child, I was really excited by, I used to love writing and I was very creative. And I felt that I'd lost that in my life. I'd also just liked the idea of achieving writing a book. I thought that would be cool. At least I would have written a book. So that was what started my journey. And when I started to do that, I suddenly got all this energy back that had been missing in my life for a really long time. And I started to pay attention to my life and to what was important to me and what I was motivated by. And I became involved with the community and I became a trustee at community centre. And I started to live life in a very different way, in a way that I hadn't done for a very, very long time. I am the daughter of an incredibly impressive woman who has an incredible career within the National Health Service within the UK. She works tirelessly to make things better. That work ethic and that sense of you just got to keep going was something that was installed within me by her, and I'm so grateful for that. However, in my world, in my time, it wasn't enough for me to just keep grinding away at something that didn't feel like was actually going anywhere. So I started to think, once I got away from the work environment, which was taking up like 12 hours of my day, I realized that actually there was something more to life, and I still felt that I wanted to contribute. I had not finished working at that point. So what did that mean? I kind of thought, so if I'm not driven by profit, how do I run a business? What does that look like? Am I a charity? No, I'm not. So essentially, I was driven by the idea there must be more people who wanted to have a different lifestyle than the one that they had, and they felt disenfranchised from the system that they were in, and they wanted to make a difference, and they wanted to make a living doing something that they loved and they were passionate about and that they believed in. So that is where the Doppler effect came from. And from that idea, that's where I wanted to think, okay, how do we do this differently? And I'm not going to take any of the previous rules with me. I'm literally going to use my instinct. I'm going to use my heart. And I'm going to just go at it as much as I can and find a way to make a completely different model, to create a company that I wanted to work at. Something that was collaborative rather than competitive. Something that was I felt proud of, something that I felt had an impact in the world in a really positive way, that didn't have to sacrifice its values in order to make cash. So it wasn't the easiest of challenges and we're still very much on a journey. However, this was back in 2015, and today what we've created is an empowerment and engagement platform that helps everyone make a living doing what they love. And the way in which we do that is we empower people through coaching, through mentoring, and through funding programs. We have a specific workshop called Funding My Dreams. And the idea behind that is that it's something that helps people understand why they're not doing the thing that they love and that they're really good at. And it comes down to two reasons. One group is around courage, which is sort of linked to faith, and the other group is around financial freedom. So we address both of these things at Doppler Effect, and that helps people go on to have a much, much bigger impact in the world. And they're also using their own values to make a difference, and they're also collaborating with one another through the community that we've created in order to support one another and grow. And this is just something that we see just multiplying over and over and over. As soon as I empower, or we empower one group of people, they go on to empower another group of people, and so on and so on and so on. And we eventually are realizing, and I think we are moving away from the idea that we have to compete for our resources. There is plenty to go around. There is enough for you, and there's enough for me. If I have something, that doesn't mean you can't have it. We can both have something. And that's really what we're trying to evangelize through our work. And so for that reason, we operate something called a gift economy. Now, the gift economy is something that's not that easy to explain always, and often is mistaken for free work. But the gift economy is basically a way that enables people to contribute to services based on what they have available to them. So in some cases, that might feel like you don't have anything available to contribute, in which case, that's fine. There's no judgment, there's no obligation. However, others feel that they have lots to contribute and do so regularly because they value the services that they're receiving in order to help them get started and start up their businesses. So through the gift economy, it means that everybody can have access to the top level coaching and funding and support services that they need in order to progress their dreams and ideas. And for those that can contribute, it means that we can reinvest back into that community over and over again. We're not driven by profit. We are driven by impact. It's our desire to make a big change in the world because I personally believe, and we believe, that if everybody was free to make a living doing what they loved, then the world would be a much better place. We'd have better lovers, mothers, sisters, brothers. People would be more content and they would feel like they were contributing in a way that aligned with their own sense of worth, which in turn reduces anxiety, reduces mental unwellness, encourages collaboration, encourages understanding, and also frees us up as individuals to stop competing on an individual level for resources and to think collectively about how we solve bigger world problems, such as climate change, social justice, and also connects us back into our hearts and our minds and our souls so that we can have a much more fulfilling, meaningful life. So for me, when I talk about the modern economy and when we talk about the modern economy, I don't see it yet. I don't see a modern economy that is helping everybody thrive. I see a system that is trying to bring in some people, but is not always listening to those new voices. To me, a truly revolutionized or evolutionized, evolution, not revolution, system is much better when we actually use our gifts and our talents and we see our new gifts and talents as superpowers, not as something that's just required to tick a box because we need more women in business, because we need to say that we're doing this. Everybody wins when we all use our talents together equally, collaboratively. So that's what I'm now on a mission to do. And if this is something that has interested you and you want to talk more about it, this isn't about me trying to promote Doppler effect. Don't get me wrong. I've talked about it a lot, but if you just listen to this speech and you want to go away and start your own movement, I highly encourage that. If you want to come and chat to me about how you might go about doing that, please do. And there are hundreds upon thousands of other people that I can introduce you to, that we can introduce you to, who will help you do that. So thank you very much for having me and letting me speak.